Andy with St. Paul Pioneer Press. Khaled, can you walk us through kind of the extensiveness of the coaching search? What other candidates might have been included in it, and kind of how you rose to Cam?
Yeah, so it goes all the way back to 2024 when we had a very extensive search to hire the former coach Eric Ramsey. Already at that time, I thought the way Cameron stepped in the absence of a head coach, I was really impressed, specifically how he handled the first preseason when we were in Arizona. From a club perspective, Sherry and I were very adamant that we wanted to keep Cam on the staff to provide the support. And over the last 2 years, I've seen nothing but growth in both in his leadership, how he connects with the players, how the players respond to him. Then when the whole situation with Eric moving on, for us it was very simple. We already knew what we wanted to do, and that's why we acted very swiftly. In the past, people say, you hire an interim for an interim's sake because you might be rushed. That's not the case here. And a wise person once said in our meeting on Sunday, we don't hire people just for show. So we're super excited with the hire of Cam. We made sure, he still went through the interview process, but the process itself of meeting with me, Sherry, Bill, HR. We had the conversation with a couple of players, and super proud and excited that we announced Cameron as Minnesota's next head coach.
Cam, Chris Long from KSTP Television. Through multiple seasons as an assistant, how rewarding is it to know that the hard work you've put in and the time you've put in is now paying off with a heck of an opportunity?
Yeah, and I'm grateful that the club's allowed me to grow. That they've been really fostered that growth for me throughout the years. I came in here 5 years ago, and have had several different roles since then, and so it's really exciting. Obviously, it happens quick. But it's also been happening over a long time, and I feel like I'm ready for this moment, and I've gained a lot of experience in a lot of different areas over the many years that I've been involved in this league.
Pierre Nugent with Fox 9 for Cameron. Why is now the right time, the right moment, you feel like, for you in this opportunity? What are you looking forward to the most in terms of being in this role now, leading this club moving forward?
Yeah, look, we're in a moment of transition. It happened quickly. I had the benefit of that a couple of years ago, and what I'm looking forward to is being able to lean on that experience. We had 10 days to prepare for preseason last time. We have 4 days this time. But the good thing is we have the benefit of that experience to go through it and to lead this group and to continue to evolve what we did. We built a really good foundation over the last 2 years, and to continue to evolve that and take the next step forward and to be the person to help drive that is I'm really proud of that.
Ashley Page, Northland Soccer. Cam, you have coached between here and Portland in the second and third divisions already. How does that help you taking over Minnesota United on a permanent basis?
Yeah, look, I've been fortunate. I came in very young. My playing career ended early. I came into coaching young, and I was an assistant coach in Portland for a number of years before I worked with the second team in the USL Championship. Came here, worked as a video analyst with the first team, then led the MLS Next Pro team as that league started up, and then an assistant, interim spell assistant. And I feel like that those roles, especially the second team roles, they give you a great deal of appreciation for a fast-moving environment, things that change quickly, how to adapt, how to learn on the spot. And so I think that lends itself to the interim period going really well 2 years ago, and also to be able to move quickly in this situation now.
Khaled, a lot of turnover this offseason from a head coach to a number of players. How do you look at kind of the transition the club is going through and what needs to happen for continued success this season?
I think we should continue to do what we planned out to do back in 2024. Every season, every window, try to improve. I think one of the strengths we show is the ability of the succession planning. And I have full respect and understanding the emotional attachment to a lot of people we like and good quality players and staff leaving all at once, that it looks like a bigger thing from an external perspective, but internally quite calm. We got young players coming up. We've got a great new staff. Recruitment team is doing what it needs to do. And, in comparison to 2024, we're talking about it. Head of performance has been here for 2 years. Medical, like the team around Cam and where the club is it's a great foundation, and Cameron mentioned the word evolve, and that's something we want to continue to do.
Colleague Chris Long, Channel 5 again.
Hi, Chris.
Was part of the speed in this the fact that you do want someone that has some familiarity and can make this period of what you hope is a quick transition easier? Is that part of what made Cam appealing?
Look, that's always a bonus, but first and foremost, is he a good person? Check. Is he a good coach? Check. Does he have the leadership? If I thought Cam had any of some of the qualities I wanted and didn't have them, I would have waited. I mean, back in 2024, Minnesota waited for several months. That's just, the timing ended up being right, and whether it was now or maybe in the summer. And again, I go back to saying we're super happy and proud of being here today.
Cam, you obviously worked with Eric and knew what the coaching style and the tactics were under him, and it was a very distinct way of playing. After San Diego, Eric talked about kind of a shift in tactics and style going forward. What do you see in some of his things that he had as his vision and his tactics that you'll continue to use, and how will you kind of put your own stamp on it?
Yeah, I think when you look at the buy-in of the players, you look at the ability to get a collective group to defend and, be that connected for 34 games, for 90 minutes every week. I mean, every coach in the league will want that for some part of the game, for some part of the season. And so I think what we have to do is take the best of that. We take the best of that, and then, we evolve line of confrontation when we're defending a little bit higher, a few different moments where we can press the ball a little more aggressive, gain a little bit more control of the game with the ball. All these things that are just small steps in moving it forward and adding new dimensions to the team.
I'm not sure who I should address this question to, because I don't know who made the decision, but in bringing on Josh Wolf as an assistant coach, Kyle, was that your decision? Why was he an appealing hire to bring on to the staff?
So Josh is, like when we always look for talented people, whether it's head coach or assistant coach, it's part of what we try to do. And Josh is a person that I've tracked for a long time. And when Cam became the head coach, I approached him and said, look, I think I have a really good complement to someone who's experienced something that you might be part of, but also the qualities of Josh. We both had the conversation with him, and happy to add Josh. And, it's a new relationship, and that will take a time. But I go back to the fact, strong culture in Minnesota and two good people here. And, Cam's leadership, super comfortable and calm with how we're going to move forward.
One thing that I hear from fans a lot is some frustration over the Tanny sale and kind of what that meant to the trajectory of last season. What can you say just about the overall commitment of the club to continue to push on and try to win trophies, because they felt like that was not in that direction?
How long do we have? I've said it many times. For me, the quest for a trophy is not a singular event, and it's not connected to one coach, one player. It's a multiple of small decisions that we have to continue to do over a longer period of time. Right decision every day, whether it's the training session, whether it's the player, whether it's the medical team. I go back to, no one really wanted to sell Tani at that moment. But the player wanted, the valuation was great, and I look back at it, and would it have helped? Yes. How far? I mean, LAFC bought Song for $26 million and ended up losing in the same round as we did. I think what that showed over long term is that this club and this staff can really develop players. Recruitment can find players that can develop and take on the next step. And with that investment, some of it is into sports, some of it is into the club, because I stand by the growth of Minnesota is not just one season and then drop it. Hopefully it just continues to go up and up and up and up, to some point, someday, we're in a place where we win a cup. We were super close the last 2 years, and yet not very close, and we just try again.
What sort of early conversations have you two had about the kind of players that you guys want to bring in and kind of what we might see here before the season starts?
Yeah, I think the first step in that, there's obviously the recruitment team have been working really hard through this window to try and identify targets, but now is seeing some of the players through this first part of preseason. You know, I think we have to give these guys a real opportunity. You see the hunger that guys have come in, and I think anytime there is transition and change, there's new opportunities for guys. And we're seeing that. You know, we've seen that in the last 2 days of training, and I think it's only fair that we get a real sense of what we have here first before we decide to, you know, figure out how to maximize the window, bring players in, and add to the group.
This one's kind of outside of soccer. We're used to having a lot of Latino colleagues in the media here, and given what's going on in the community with some of the human rights things, broader speaking, what can you say to what's going on in this community and these raids that are happening?
Yeah, I think it's a real thing. You know, staff live it, players live it. We address the players on Monday. The league has been great in reaching out and giving the support. Sherry, the CEO, Sarah, Chelsea, the whole club is kind of behind each other, not just the players. I think, you know, first and foremost, it's really tough period for people that are really being affected. We're doing our best to support each other and the players, but it is a real thing. That, you know, some players, specifically foreign, are nervous about, that we've met with and talked about it, but you know, we all support each other, and hopefully this will, what do you say, improve over time quickly.
Any more for anyone on stage? Surely one of the daughters has a question for Dad. You can't lie up there. All right. Well, congratulations to Cameron Knowles as the third head coach of Minnesota.